This little video is going to show you guys how to graph the inequality. It sort of assumes that you've already gotten through the inequality and you've gotten to um, something to look like this. Let me get the tools out first. So it sort of assumes that you're already looking at, one of these guys here. X is less than something, X is greater than something, whatever. So when we get to this point, we're going to try and graph X is greater than -4. So we find -4 in our graph, and you really don't need to build number line graph. You don't really need to build it this large. What I would really suggest that you do is probably make a number line about maybe 5 numbers total, and put this number, this guy right here, I'd put that right in the center of your graph. Make sure that's kind of the center, and then put 2 numbers to its left and then 2 numbers to its right. So I'll show you in a second about all we need. Really all we need to be something like this. How's this yellow going to work here? I'd say about, yeah, nice. I'd say probably all you need is about from maybe here over to maybe -6 over to -2, something like that. That'd probably be enough. Okay, so we found our -4. Now we're going to put a circle there. The type of circle depends on whether it's greater than or equal to. Okay, so we're going to go with an open circle, and I'll explain the difference in a minute. So you're going to put an open circle above -4, and the direction that we're going in, we want to go all numbers bigger than -4. We want to show everything that's greater than -4, but we're not including -4, and that's why we're leaving that open. We're showing everything bigger than -4, but not including it. So we'll then draw a line to shade in, and at the end of it, we'll draw an arrow. And that would be a nice looking graph for X is greater than -4, shows everything greater than -4, -2, -1, whatever. Okay. Here's one now that's X less than 5. So the first thing we need to do, we would draw our graph, and again, we'd probably only need, what? Maybe a graph that would be about from there to there. Doesn't need to be too big, complicated. But I should point out that there's an arrow on each end of the number line, guys. That's kind of important to show that it goes on and on and on. So an arrow on that side and an arrow on that side. Okay. Oops. All right, so X is greater than 5, less than 5, pardon me. All right, so we'll find our 5. Because it's not including the 5, we're going to use the open circle again. We don't want to include 5. We want to show everything that's less than 5. So then we'll draw our arrow, and the direction we'll go is to the left this time. Everything less than 5, and we'll draw a big arrow at the end to show that we're going to continue on forever. That'd be X less than 5. Okay, now here's one. X is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, there's a situation where we could say something is at least 0. Could be higher than 0. Today's temperature is going to be at least 0. Does that mean it could be 0? Yeah, it could be exactly 0, or it could be greater than 0. So we want to show that by using the shaded in circle. I'm going to put that right on the 0. That means we're going to include 0, and then our arrow is going to go in the greater than direction. Okay, so because we're including 0 this time, we're going to use a shaded circle, whereas in the previous question, we did not include this value, and we used an open circle. I'll give you one more here. X is less than or equal to -4. So which kind of a circle would we use here? We want to include -4. We use closed in or open. We'd use closed in. We're going to use and put it right at -4, And this time we want everything that's less than or equal to -4. Well, less than is going to go to the left. So we'll draw our arrow this way. Shade in the line. And try to do a neat job with this, Try to make it respectable. It's easier to make it neat with the computer, I know, but make sure, again, you have the arrows on either end of the number line. So there's one last situation. What happens when the variable is on the right-hand side, as it well might be? And that really makes it different, because really, when we're reading, we really read from the letter side to the number side. So if we read that, it's really saying x is greater than or equal to 8. Okay? So one way to get around that is to take your problem, if you want to reorganize it, and turn it around. See that again? Here was our problem. Maybe I'll make a clone of it so you can see what it looks like. So there's the original. X is, again, if I read it from the letter side, so in other words, reading from right to left, x is greater than or equal to 8. Now, when I flip that over, rewrite it, I have x is greater than or equal to 8. So not only did we kind of reverse where the letter and the variable are, but I also had to change the sign here, reverse that sign, right? So everything's completely got flipped around. You might find this way a little bit easier to read. We're so used to reading from left to right. So we're going to go x is greater than or equal to 8. We'll use the shaded in circle because we want to use 8. Include it. It's like saying I want to have at least 8 people to my birthday party. Well, could there be exactly 8? Yes. Be more than 8. And then we'll finish it off like that. Graphing inequalities. Nothing easier.